This cold, chilly night here in the city of Toronto. We're gonna go to the full cam here on YouTube. We're gonna go right back to yes. Thank you very much for joining me at Talk Live on IG, YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Uh, I wear this for a reason. This shirt for a reason. This is not. This is a quite sobering. Probably one of the more sobering shows I've done on Talk Live in memory, and it has to do with my one of my musical heroes, Kanye West, actually, and or should I say, Ye, for lack of a better word. Ye has he's made a bit of history, not for all the good reasons, quite simply over the last couple of days, after the last week, actually, from the highs of appearing on. The highs of appearing on, uh, yes, on the Grammys red carpet with Kai Cenat. I thought that Kanye was on his way back. He was out there promoting, getting ready for some new music upcoming, and ready to let the world know of his sheer genius once again. But unfortunately, things have taken a turn. Well, with regards to free speech, but also, with many have said, to the negative. So we're going to be analyzing that tonight on Talk Live. It may be a two-part event, so do stay tuned. But yes, we're going to just get into this, ladies and gentlemen, because I hope you can hear me here on my mic that I had last week, but we are back here again this week. So hopefully you can hear me on my mic on Instagram, on YouTube. You can definitely hear me. So again, it is is a show that I do with a sort of heavy heart, because again, there's a line that I will let you know that one must not cross, but it seems that Kanye has done that. We'll study what line that is in due course, however, and where I stand in terms of the man, the myth, the music, the legend that is Ye. Right. So let's get into this. Not a subject that I take with good tidings and joy. I can tell you that, and something that leaves me with a heavy heart, quite simply. But it has to be done. It must be done. I am one who will not shirk away from my responsibilities to the viewership here at Talk Live. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Sponsored by Duntalk, DUNTLK.com. This was actually a shirt done by Duntalk.com out of love, because we do love the genius that is Kanye West. However, hey Kareem, how are you? But again, we are here, and we are here to discuss a very serious subject in the realm of things. Again, there are way more serious things, such as death, such as war, such as famine, such as hate. Sheer violence towards one another. I think there are many more serious subjects to speak of. However, at the end of the day, this is serious enough. So let's get into it. Just going to get into the browser here, and let's discuss what has gone on over the last week with Kanye West. And we're going to take it back to what some would call a simpler time of 2022. Because what has happened recently is just not something that doesn't happen in a vacuum. This is something that has gone on for many months and many years. Let me go to back here. Yes, there we go. Bang. Yes, so we have Rapaholic to help us out here. Please like and subscribe to Rapaholic, doing wonderful things in the YouTube streets. However, he is going to guide us through the timeline that is Ye for the last 2 to 3 years, and it's sort of a darker road, although it is filled with a bit of triumph. But Ye is going down a very lonely, dark path that many people are abandoning him on. I'll let you know my stance on things in a bit. But let's talk about it. Let's get into this. It's time to be honest about Kanye West. Yes, it's time to be honest about Ye. So thank you, Rapaholic, for this video. It's a very, very good video. I won't spare you the details of his, because this goes throughout the simply the history of Kanye West in the music industry and explains things up to modern times. But let's bring it back to 2022. When things really started to get serious, and you started hearing much of the rhetoric that you hear today in on the X platform and on Yeezy in terms of his in terms of his brand and on his Shopify site. So let's get into it. Thank you very much for joining me in Talk Live. We're starting back in 2022. Thank you, Rapaholic, for this video. Let's go.
During the Yeezus era, he was yelling in radio interviews, doing angry rants at all of his concerts, cussing out the fashion executives, and protesting against the radio. He dealt with the grief of losing his mother through anger and fighting to become a billionaire. But now, he was on the cusp of attaining that goal. But sadly, it was at the cost of losing his family. And instead of channeling the grief of losing his family through sadness or rage, he was now channeling it through deranged humor. He embodied the sad clown. Kanye was constantly frustrated, constantly fighting for something new, and constantly fighting the people around him. And just like his behavior, his art only became more strange, and it only seemed like he was trolling his fans more and more. He would step out with his new wife, Bianca Censori, wearing the most outlandish outfits, both himself and her, trolling fans of his fashion by giving them products like the Yeezy Billy Boots or the shoe socks, and trolling the fans of his music by giving them half-baked products like Donda 2. This was the first time that we ever heard a Kanye album that was objectively bad, that sounded like there was no soul within it. But then he finally did it. Once he secured a deal with The Gap, along with his current deal with Adidas, Kanye finally became a billionaire. And remember what he said about true influence only coming from being a billionaire. Kanye now had the ability to have that influence he had been craving since 2013. By 2022, almost 10 years later, he now hit his ultimate goal. But to no surprise, Kanye wasn't satisfied here. He had the money, he had the influence, but he did not have the power. He was a billionaire, but only through his deals with The Gap and Adidas. So in his most disgustingly absurd attempt at breaking boundaries, destroying everything he had, simply to rebuild even stronger, at the end of 2022, Kanye went on an anti-Semitic tirade, professing his love to the German leader of World War II, who will remain unnamed in this video. We will give him the nickname Hunter, the Mustache Man. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, you can Google him. The same leader who was responsible.
Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, that's when it began. The Mustache Man's, praise began in 2022. That's when he realized, okay, as the video said. Now again, Rapaholic is not exactly, well, he is a fan of Kanye West, the old Kanye West, but the new Kanye West he's definitely not a fan of. And he has made that abundantly clear. So I'm taking it from a view where I'm still a fan of Kanye. You'll know of my views of how I feel about his music and his rhetoric later in the show. But his racist-laced rhetoric began in 2022, when indeed, as was stated by a Rapaholic on this video, when Kanye was a billionaire, but he didn't have exactly true power. It was given to him by his deals with The Gap and with Adidas. That's the proper name, how they say Adidas. So Adidas is, well, okay, that's not the proper spelling anyway, not the proper pronunciation according to the Germans. Anyway, so due to Adidas and Gap deals, he became a billionaire, but through that billionaire status, it wasn't made on his own terms. So Kanye grew to disapprove of these deals and wanted to get out of them. So he started his racist lace tirade mentioning the Mustache Man, and got out of those deals. But again, everybody thought that this would be the end of Kanye. However, Kanye is always reinventing himself, creating a new life for himself, and as was stated in this video by Rabaholic, which was very well done to be fair and frank. He is one who likes to, build things up to tear it down and rebuild again. So he's always going through this self-destructive mode of his different genres and different, how shall I say, mannerisms, different personalities. Especially when it comes to his albums, because again, once he was a born again Christian, and then he went back to praising brands and going down a darker road, and you'll hear it throughout this video why he did that. But as you know, then he became a billionaire. What he always wanted to be is a billionaire. He became a billionaire through his deals with Gap and through Adidas. However, that was short lived because he didn't get the power that he so greatly wanted, and he decided to break out of those deals. So he did it through his racist tirade. Unfortunately, Lana BK says seems like that insatiable quest for more. We see many celebs and wealthy people never enough. Yes, indeed. Many celebs, yeah. Kanye had a lust for power, quite simply, and that lust for power led him down a very dark road, a road in which, he decided to use his platform to promote alt-right ideas, and it wasn't to the liking of Madison Avenue and to corporate America and the corporate world. So they discontinued those deals. However, Kanye wasn't done yet. So let's get into this and continue. Thank you very much for joining me on Talk Talk Live. Like, subscribe, comment, people. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Let's get into this. What is happening here? I hope it goes back. Okay. Sorry about this technical issue, my people. My bad. Keep it locked here on Talk Talk Live. Let me just see about this. What is going on here?
For the genocide of not simply 6 million Jews, but also dozens of thousands, if not millions, of black people, disabled individuals, and homosexual individuals. And instead of making his mother in heaven proud by showing her he had achieved the ultimate pinnacle of wealth, influence, and creative excellence, Kanye had to dismantle any celebration of his hard work and his achievements by viciously attacking an entire religious group for no apparent reason other than his frustration with several executives who practice that religion. He used his massive influence to launch a hate campaign against the Jewish people, unprovoked, with no desire to come to any true real understanding. The most devastating was him going on Jewish podcaster Lex Friedman's show, who tried to reason with Kanye on a human level, understand where his frustrations were deriving from, educate him on the severity of praising a figure like Hunter and all the damage he did in World War II, and giving Kanye a fair chance to explain where he was coming from and trying to come to some sort of solution to solve their differences. Kanye, stuck in his ways, took any sort of criticism as an attack on his free speech, an attack on him personally, and emphasized to Lex that he has no friends. He has no one he could trust. No one he could turn to in this time where if Kanye didn't feel like he was alone during his divorce with Kim, he definitely felt it now, as nearly everyone had drew the line after these disgraceful comments that Kanye had made. And just like that...
Oh, and so... Let's realize that Kanye, yes, he likes to press the self-destruct button, but you gotta realize what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with a man who, may be mentally challenged. He's very much alone in the world. His family has literally abandoned him. They don't want anything to do with him. he's a man unto himself. Now he has lashed out in a very unnecessary tirade, but you know, it's he's allowed to speak it. It is free speech, but at the end of the day, it's not something that I would condone. It's not something that I would champion in and of itself. I don't think he needed to say or do these things. However, Kanye's his own man. He'll do his own thing, and anything that is controversial or that may indeed is flies too close to the sun and is very negative in its origin. Kanye will do it in order to bring attention to his cause, bring attention to his name, bring attention to his artistic expression. And yeah, it's sad that things had to go that way, but that's the way Kanye chooses to express himself. But the worst was yet to come. Let's continue.
Kanye had lost it all again. All the partnerships, all his friends, his peers in the industry, even people like Lex, who tried to reason with him on a human level, who Kanye aggressively rejected. Ye had now dug himself in this hole where he was basically all alone. He lost the billions that he worked years and years to attain. All the influence that he had within fashion was now gone at the snap of a fingers, as he had no more brands to create products with. But again, he was fueled by the hate, fueled by the attention that his controversy received. And all of that controversy and hate got Kanye exactly what he wanted: creative freedom. Just like in the past, whenever he destroyed, he was able to rebuild even stronger. He now had the ability to design without the financial and creative limitations from companies like Adidas or The Gap. He could say whatever he wanted because there was no one to silence him. People could stop listening to him, but they couldn't silence him. And that's exactly what he wanted. When he said that only billionaires were able to influence, I believe what he meant was billionaires had so much money and power that they really had nothing to lose. I don't think he's right in this assessment, but from his perspective, if he has all the money in the world that he could possibly need, and all the fans who will blindly continue to buy his clothing, buy his products, buy his music, he will always have a massive influence on the culture. Only being in this massive position of power could Kanye say whatever he wanted without any repercussions. And
so again, as was stated by Rapaholic, it's clear that Kanye still had musical power. He still had cultural influence to such an extent that he went independent. He was assured that he could go independent and he could win, and he did win. He was selling his clothing on his own website, Shopify website. He had his own album release. He did independently, which did very, very, very well for himself and made him very, very lucrative because he was outside of the usual musical machine. And yeah, he was once again on top, rising to the top, especially with his last album, especially with Donda 2, and his latest album, Vultures, which he did very, very well with. I think Carnival was #1 on the Billboard charts, and Kanye was again flying high, but he tore down what he had as a billionaire to create his own independent think tank, his own independent musical expression, and it made him a success. It made him a massive success, so much so that it was very close, very akin to what Donald Trump was able to do in 2024. A person that Kanye West has gone out of his way to support. Let's continue.
Miraculously, this somehow worked in his favor. He became more powerful than ever, fully independent, releasing his clothing and his music through his own website, through his own independent distributors. Kanye can now say and do whatever he wanted, and he had no corporation to control him. No record label he was signed to, no fashion company he was partnered with, no restrictions. He was completely unhinged. He put out another number one album and number one single with Vultures 1 and Carnival. But again, the more Kanye received, the more he destroyed. You would think that Kanye now had everything he ever wanted. He got his billions back. He had his Yeezy website that he could release clothing through without the control of any big entity. His fans still supported him after all the disgusting comments he made, shot his songs and albums up to number one on the charts. And what did he do with all this power? What did he do to thank his fans for supporting him through thick and thin? He gave us Vultures 2, a cluttered mess of unfinished songs, AI vocals, vulgar subject matter, tone-deaf singing, absolutely zero redeemable qualities. This
is one man's opinion. To be fair, I don't. Well, again, he did like Kanye's earlier work. He definitely did not agree with Vultures. I thought it was a very good album. I thought it was one of Kanye's better efforts. Again, it's not my beautiful dark twisted fantasy, which is one of the great albums of in music history. However, it was still a very good effort. Some people got it, some people didn't. It was sort of like Marmite. However, it did again launch a successful. It was a successful album in terms of. I mean, it was split between the critics as to if it was in terms of its acclaim. However, it was very lucrative for Kanye. It was a very very well. It was a very well consumed and and sold album, and his merchandise around the album did very, very well himself, of which I bought a few pieces for myself, which I wear from time to time just to be avant-garde. But again, it's Kanye, he was able to do this on his own terms without being outside of the music label machine, being outside of its entrapment and its bad deals, of which Kanye, he vehemently criticized against to a point where it came towards unrepentant neo-Nazi chants. However, it's but again, it's Kanye had his right to speak and his right to speech. But again, as he said, the worst was yet to come. Let's continue.
This was the absolute low of Kanye's creative output. This was the saddest thing his fans ever had to listen to. This was the biggest slap in the face to all of his supporters who rode with him through all of the horrible controversy and awful statements that he made. This was how he repaid them. This was how he thanked the faithful fans that he had left. He didn't use his independence or his wealth for positivity. He used it to destruct even further. And I put the emphasis on the emptiness that Kanye felt after the passing of his mother, because even this central goal of becoming a billionaire that Kanye had was for empty reasons. It wasn't to use his influence to inspire change and positivity. It wasn't to use his wealth to build communities or charitable initiatives. He wanted all this power so he can use it to give a big F you to anyone who supported him, anyone who loved him, anyone who rided with him, or anyone who doubted him.
I don't think he did that for his supporters. I think he did that towards the record, I think to the music industry to which he was attached to for years, and with whom if anybody's in the music industry, was given a bad deal, a raw deal, and he wanted to break away from them. So again, it was... so if there's anybody he was speaking of, and do let me know if the mic is working with you. I just want to know that if it's coming through to you on Instagram, my Instagram people, YouTube, you have already had your sound check and you are doing well. But yeah, I mean, Kanye was giving a big FU to the music industry there. He wasn't giving a big FU to his fans. I think he was very loyal to his fans, who continue to rock with him. However, I think the whole Vultures album was Kanye's FU to the music industry and its bad deals not only for himself but for many of his fellow artists and friends. Let's continue.
He isolate himself from the world and say, I don't need you. I'm above you. I'm a god. And where did this leave him? Well, by the end of 2024, it was reported that Kanye had hired a dentist to install titanium grills to replace his teeth. And during this process, you are medicated using a substance called nitrous oxide, a substance that, if used recreationally, can cause irreparable damage to your brain and cognitive functioning. This dentist was allegedly trying to take advantage of Kanye's wealth by getting him addicted to the substance so that he could steal millions from Kanye while he was in this dazed state. And this was undeniable.
Again, this is alleged. This is alleged allegations against Kanye. You can't really take that as gospel, so we'll call that an alleged assertion there by Rapaholic. Let's continue.
I believe the lowest point we had ever seen Kanye. He looked like a shell of his former self. Overweight, depressed, exhausted, beaten up by all the fighting he was doing for all these empty goals. The sad clown now seemed destroyed. But just as he'd done in the past, once Kanye destroyed, it was time to rebuild. He moved to Japan, he did a couple concerts in Asia, and he seemed like he had this rejuvenated energy. He actually picked up a microphone again, started performing all of his hits, started getting to work on his first solo album in 4 years titled Bully, and in pictures, he seemed like he shed all this weight. He didn't look intoxicated, he looked really sharper than ever and healthy again. But then he moves back to LA, the same place I believe he was hospitalized in 2016, the same place that in 2019, when he found God, said was the devil's playground. The sad clown was now back to play. He shows up to the Grammys with his wife, basically fully naked on the red carpet. And remember what he said about feeling insecure back in 2021 because Drake had more hits than him, Kendrick had better bars than him. Kendrick had now just won 5 Grammys, the most that a single hip-hop song had ever been rewarded for in Grammys history. But Kanye wanted to be the god. Paparazzi stopped him and Kanye asked them, "Why aren't you asking me about how I beat the Grammys?" The next day, he claims that he's going to be performing at next year's Super Bowl, but he'll let Kendrick have this year's. When Kendrick first released Like That with Future and Metro Boomin, where he kicked off this entire battle with Drake, Kanye felt the need to jump in without request to claim that this was about the elimination of Drake. He did his own remix to that song and tried to insert himself in this battle for seemingly nothing more than seeking attention. Now Kendrick gets all these Grammys. Kanye has to let the world know that he was the one that beat the Grammys and that he'll be taking the attention away from Kendrick at next year's Super Bowl by performing there himself. Now we're just a couple hours away from Kendrick actually performing at the Super Bowl, and of course, leading up to this, Kanye couldn't let the opportunity go by without doing his best to turn the attention onto his antics. Again, he needs the power. He needs the influence. He might be a billionaire, but that means nothing if he's not the loudest voice in the room. And in order to become that, in order to achieve the next level of power and influence, he's got to destroy in order to rebuild. And that's exactly what Kanye did. Late last week, he began what would become a multi-day long Twitter rampage where he would seemingly replace sleep for outlandish tweets. Kanye really...
Okay, so we are at present day. Kanye allegedly tried to steal the day from Kendrick Lamar and his Grammy appearance. Kanye tried to steal the day with regards to Kendrick Lamar and his Super Bowl appearance. And so in order to appear relevant and also to promote his his new album Bully, which will be released in June. So he's trying to keep the zeitgeist onto himself. Not only with Kanye's appearance on the runway, which you can look it up. I think the world has seen it by now, and it's very evident for all to see that Kanye. Let me see if I can look this up quickly. It's very evident for all to see that Kanye decided. Let me see here just a second. Does this show it here? No. Yes. Let's go there. Yes. Let's just go there. just for shits and giggles. Thank you very much for joining me in Talk Live on IG and YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Let me see here. Up and up. Carpet Grammys 25. Let's relive what had happened that night with Ye. Yes, here we are. So this is 9 days. Yes, 217. Here we go. Let me just. I don't know if there's any talking here, but we're just gonna let this run. Okay. Seeing it here on Talk Live. This is Kanye being on the red carpet of the Grammys. Again, people were surprised to see him. He is there with his wife Bianca Censori. And again, they are discussing what will happen. I think what was seen around the world, quite simply, and we'll let this play on. Yeah, they're discussing what needs to happen and what they have planned here. And Kanye decided, hey, let's do it, and it is done. Over the shoulder, but there's a gasp that happens over the crowd. Now, many have said that Kanye is not exactly in his right mind for doing this. Some would call him sick. I would call him here. Yes, I mean, Bianca is a willing participant in this activity. It's unfortunate that it had to be in this clad of dress, but it was a see-through outfit that Kanye was promoting. He's promoting his new undergarment brand. That rivaled his ex-wife Kim Kardashian's, and this was the opening day. And I thought, you know what, this will get the eyes of the world on my product, and so he did. And yeah, it was it was shocking to say the least. Let's continue with this. A lot of people were flabbergasted at what had happened with Bianca, but again, she. Kanye decided not to go into the Grammys. He decided to walk in and leave, as is seen here. Still posing for pictures. Yeah. What more can be said, people? Some deem this as being misogynist. Some see Kanye as being very controlling in this condition. I would say that Bianca, unfortunately, was a willing participant in this activity, and we are here to witness what had happened last week at the Grammys. And this stole the show. Literally stole the show in terms of his appearance at the Grammys. Kanye, I don't believe, ever did go into the Grammys in and of itself, and yeah, due to the, I don't think that was his idea. Was never to go inside the Grammys. I think it was his idea just to, you know, to steal the limelight from it, and he certainly did that. If there's anything that Kanye West is, he's a master marketeer, and he knows how to put eyeballs on his person, and he certainly did that with his wife's help. And you know, it was met with a lot of opprobrium, a lot of outrage, and a lot of vitriol, to say the least. However, he set out what he meant to do. So that is what happened last week. But he wasn't done. Kanye was not done, my people. He is not one who who will leave things right there. And there we go. Let's go back to the original. And we'll get into what he had to say here. Back to Rapaholic and his take on Kanye West's past, present, and future. Let's continue.
He has possibly not slept in the last 4 to 5 days. If you check on Twitter right now, he has probably tweeted something in the last 5 minutes and has probably been tweeting.
Well, Kanye has been taken off, has taken his X account off of Twitter, off of X. It is not there to be seen. All you can see are the highlights, which we will talk about here on Talk Talk Live. Let's continue.
For the last 4 days straight. It started with him tweeting, "Free Diddy." Diddy is...
Okay, so let's have a little more descriptive look at his tweets here. Right here with this, Kanye West just ended his career. This is done by WestJet. Please subscribe to WestJet. Doing wonderful things in YouTube streets. I think it's up to 690 thousand subscribers. But I think he has more of a descriptive take on the Kanye tweets over the last few days and weeks. So let's get into it right here. This is where we are at present day, and this is why everybody's very, very much upset at what Kanye has, what Ye has had to say and do. Do apologize, Ye, for that. And so let's get into it.
Just went bananas Donkey Kong on Twitter. I am a Nazi. And then he changed his mind. I am God.
Hey, good morning, Kanye.
Elon stole my Nazi swag at the inauguration. Yo, my guy, get your own third rail. What is a third rail? Dude, it's a train track. Hitler was so fresh. And, I don't think he was joking because he dropped this merch later on. Oh, I've wanted to make this tee for years. My greatest performance art piece thus far. Oh.
This is this is what the world. This is where things really started fires for Kanye. It's when he brought out the swastika T-shirt, widely available on his Yeezy brand site. And I think the world just went bananas from there. But again, he wasn't done with his tweets, but that was up. But as of now, Shopify has taken down Yeezy's clothing brand site due to incitement of racial hatred, especially through this T-shirt. And so, he does not have he can't sell his clothes as of now. So he wasn't done with his tweets. Let's continue.
Thus far. Oh. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, because this goes on and on and on. Jesus.
Baba Booey.
No intro today. Black man in trouble. And let's just get right into some of these other bagger tweets. I love Hitler. Now what, bitches? He did make graduation, so we can let this one slide. We got slavery is a choice here, and pretty sound logic, can't lie. If you're homeless, just buy a house. It's pretty obvious, makes sense, right? Free Puff? Oh, hell no. Kanye West urges Trump to free my brother Diddy from jail. Oh, hell no. Dude, it's like a tree that keeps on giving. Call me Adolf Hitler, and your bitch still wants to He didn't make my beautiful dark twisted fantasy, though, so... What y'all gonna do? Cancel my sneaker deal? Cancel my record deal? Freeze my accounts? Fuck all y'all neighbors. Slavery is a choice. I'm speaking my mind now. I ain't editing ever again. Dude, even the AI is worried. Is Ye's mental health stable? EA says he does not hire fat or ugly people. He also stated that fat bitches are sex offenders because they make him feel sexually offended. He said that and boasted like an Ozempic kind of injection thing.
2 steps ahead.
Why is Kanye West rage baiting? Like, I feel like he needs to stay on topic here. He's talking about Nazis and stuff, and then he's like, fat people. I don't like fat people. Like, what's next? Yeah. Oh, I shouldn't have never asked. Oh. And then he just started calling people gay, which, fair play, I guess. He did make graduation. I love gay people. All my gay friends know that, but y'all ain't finna take the word away from me. Good morning, retards.
Hey, good morning, Kanye.
Kanye will type all this out and then go to divorce court with a straight face demanding he sees his kids and he's like a great father. Like, this is so silly. Drake and his wife Kim Kardashian have joint custody over their 4 children, but Drake has been absent from their lives at times. Instead of using the finite time we have on this planet to, enjoy it with his children, he's beefing strangers online. My sales doubled since last night. Damn, the world must be racist like me. Who broke you, Kanye? My name is Ye, you Wow, just heard the news. Rest in peace, Kanye. You corny and broke. Hitler would have hated you, bald fuck. Get off that. Ratioing Kanye West is insane, and, Kanye was upset. He was just calling people broke and making fun of people's bank accounts and sort of like schizoing out, spurring it out. I channeled Andrew Tate on a few of these tweets, and then he just said sec.
No, that's interesting. That was very, very interesting. He called out Andrew Tate and actually gave him a big up. Interesting. Let's go.
Well, what color's your Bugatti?
To no surprise, the virgins on crypto Twitter offered him $2 million to make a shit coin, and he, declined. I am not doing a coin. I make products. I only do things I'm passionate and knowledgeable about. He's literally full-blown manic, and even he has the decency not to launch any crypto garbage. FaZe Banks was so down bad thirsty trying to recruit Kanye to do this coin thing. It was embarrassing. If you're interested in learning more, doing it the right way, hit me up. We have lots of mutual. Yeah, I'm sure that coin will go real well. Yeah, hit me up so I can get the CA before it drops and I can make a good quick buck. Fuck FaZe Clan. There's only one clan I like. Alright, I get it. I didn't make graduation. I don't get a pass on these things.
For legal reasons, that's a joke. I would not be surprised, God forbid, something should happen, that Ye should do something to himself, given his behavior.
Yo! Thanks for calling me Ye. This warms me heart. And thank you for being concerned about my personal well-being. Or wait, is them some setup to come kill Ma and say I killed myself? If I magically die, blame Ben Shapiro. You heard it here first, folks. Ben Shapiro's the culprit, This is a better rapper beef than Kendrick versus Drake, and we all know Ben Shapiro's the better rapper. Visibility limited. This post may violate X's rules against hateful conduct. I was abused by Jews, specifically Jamie Dimon froze my accounts. Ari Emanuel wrote letters to get my deals dropped. Ben Shapiro is currently connecting death to my name. The Jews are still positioned between me and my audience. Oh, trust me, he didn't just stop there either. It kept going. Some of my best friends are Jewish, and I don't trust any of them. Literally me when I pull out a pack of gum in class. Me when my homie asks me for a beer. I can say Jew as much as I want. I can say Hitler as much as I want. Matter of fact, I do say it when I want. Articles are kind of clowning him. Dozens of tweets posted by rapper and one-time billionaire Kanye West. And honestly, I think that's what triggered him even more. I got back to 2.77 billion without a coin. Remember that. 2.77 billion and counting. All white people are racist. Everybody's racist. Grow up. Ironically, that was the only thing that didn't violate X's terms of service against hateful conduct. Jewish people actually hate white people and use black people. Hey, YouTube, if you're watching, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just reading the tweets. I didn't say nothing. My lips are sealed. I want my paycheck. Like Logan Paul, I deal through things with humor, but I'm gonna tone it down a notch. I think I've been cracking a little too many jokes, and the stuff Kanye's saying is, pretty hateful, to be honest.
Kanye West defends Sean Diddy Combs.
Okay, before I have him, I'm just letting this run through, people. This is going to be a stream of consciousness, just like Kanye intended it to be, for better or for worse. Let's continue.
The music mogul's sex trafficking case. Ye shows support for the Bad Boy Records founder, who is currently in jail awaiting the May 5th trial for his charges, in a series of controversial messages.
I don't know if this is the hill he wants to die on. What's next? Is he gonna defend Epsnipe? Kanye West suggests autism, explains his episodes. Advocates say that's harmful and false. Dude, that is such a cop-out. I know autistic people that don't just start hailing and making Nazi merch when they're having a breakdown. Your Honor, my client's autistic as shit. Anti-Diddy legal team slams Kanye West's free puff rant. Birds of a feather. Jesus. And then he got this merch drop, some fire stuff. We're gonna be wearing this to the cookout. Kanye West every 5 seconds. This is an awful week to be a Kanye fan. I feel like Kanye low-key fell off. Some of his old stuff was better, and he hasn't released a good album, let alone a good song in like years. All the money in the world.
Again, that's open to interpretation. Let's continue.
You still can't find time to see your children. He truly is a deadbeat father. You're about to hit 50 and you're spurging out into the Twitter void. Half of your replies are probably Russian and Chinese bot farms trying to hijack the conversation and spread hate.
Again, whether it's because he feels this way, or he wants to be edgy, or he just is trying to drum up interest in his forthcoming album cycle, it's all bad.
And you know what? I agree with Anthony Fantano. This would be the dumbest way to advertise an album.
Yeah, again, a lot of zaniness that is difficult to ignore, but simultaneously, there's not really a whole lot to say about it, truly and honestly. It's right here in black and white. It doesn't run that deep. It is what it is.
Hey, you know, it is what it is. Travis Scott unfollowed him on Instagram, wants absolutely nothing to do with him. JPEG Mafia.
Of course, he is married to Kendall Jenner and, well, Kim Kardashian's Kendall Jenner, you know, that sort of thing. Let's continue. Or one of the Jenners. Anyways, let's go.
Put out a statement. All the money in the world, and he just seems so unhappy. Like, play some Rocket League with your friends or something. Jump on Fortnite. Take a private jet to an exotic island. Well, maybe not that one. But WestJet, you're a loser. He has more money than you. He can buy you. Shut your mouth. Not even Kanye West can afford a house in Canada at these current price rates. If you made it this far, leave a like and comment what you think of this situation. And, of course, if you think slavery is a choice, subscribe to my channel.
Yes. So that's what we're dealing with right now. That was his Twitter rant, his X rant, in which he not only insulted those of the Jewish faith, but also those who are physically challenged by their weight. Also, those who misused his, who got his name wrong. Those who were broke. Basically, anyone who he saw fit that needed a bit of a telling off, needed a bit of a rant run over them. But again, his main target were indeed those of the Jewish faith, and that's where we stand now. Unfortunately, let's get back to what had to be said here on Rapaholic. We're going to move forward a bit here to the end. That was involving all of his Twitter rants on his end. But anyways, let's see if we get got cut off here.
Kanye calls Elon Musk a real N-word for allowing him to exercise his First Amendment right on Twitter. And Ye replied to it saying, "That's an ultimate compliment, you neurodivergent R-word." Then he started beefing with another fan by the Twitter name UpBlist, where he replied to them saying, "This is Ye. I'm just texting for my own health. I don't know who you are or care to." Then he tweets out a screenshot of his website with a picture of a t-shirt on the website, and that t-shirt has the Mustache Man's political party's
we've
logo.
been through that.
Stolen from, lied to, and treated like a caged monkey. Very few domestic cases are one-sided, but the man always gets the blame. F all the double standards. Women verbally abuse men all the time, but we never bring that part up. They're making an example out of Diddy, and for abuse victims, female and male, that want Diddy to rot in jail, Diddy is not the person that violated you. For you, Diddy represents the person that violated you, while the person that actually violated you is walking around free. I've been
Very much, let me say this about Kanye's rants, although it is, well, hard to take in parts, to say the least. However, he did throw a lot of red pill views in his rants, to be fair. To be very, very fair, he was very much praising Andrew Tate. He was very much into, he was critiquing female behavior and their promiscuous phase, and it was it was very, very much Kanye was letting out some red pill views that not a lot of people were appreciative of or was ready to accept. But again, out of a storm of considered negativity, he did have a few positives. To be fair, let's continue.
Me Too. So it's Puff and Me Too. Don't matter how much money you make, they will come to take everything from you when they feel like it. So since I lost everything and got everything back, I'm not afraid of anything. I'm going to skip over the rest of what he said about Santa Claus people, basically saying that they own everything and that they steal. I'm going to skip over the horrible things he said about domestic violence, essentially defending it, saying sometimes it's warranted. He shared a screenshot of the infamous security camera footage of Diddy and Cassie in a hotel room where Diddy abused her. And the hoodie that she's wearing in that screenshot, Kanye recreated it and started selling it on his website.
Yeah, that is not exactly a good look by Kanye. You can't advocate for domestic violence and then market it and sell it to the public. Not a very good move, Kanye. Speaks to his mental state at the time. Not exactly in the best of spirits or moods, to be fair. Let's continue.
He posted screenshots of the sales of his website, and somehow that sweatshirt ended up being the highest selling item of yesterday. And it's things like this that really make Kanye think he's indestructible and will only make him continue to act in progressively more violent and repulsive manners. 5 years ago, he was posting clips every Sunday of his Sunday service events. 5 years later, today, it's a Sunday, and he's posting corn videos all over his Twitter. A man in his 40s with 4 children, nonetheless. He continues with tweets like, people text me and say, I hope you're okay. I'm like, you're broke. Any text with you makes me broker. People are either helping you to make money or they're robbing you, and some people are doing both. One of the more disgusting tweets read, all these guys switching sides on Diddy act like they never ran out of words with their woman. And he's letting you know very clearly how horrible of a person he is with all these tweets. He wants you to know. He says things like, anyone you see around me works for me. I limit my time around people that don't follow my directions. Simple rule, I only talk to people who listen. He goes on to talk more about the Drake-Kendrick beef, saying Monty Littman, Lucian Grange, Universal Music Group, and the Vivendi Corporation used Kendrick to make an example out of Drake, then had the Grammys singing the A minor line. If Drake was taken to trial for PDF file claims, they would play that song in the courtroom, and everyone that ever danced to Drake would get their popcorn and watch another Black Idol be thrown in jail. Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, Thug, Diddy, who's next on the hit list? Who's the next to have an example made of? When I see
Excellent point. Well, you know what? Out of all that Twitter rant, he makes a very good point with regards to Kanye and with regards to UMG Music, which UMG Music has yet to dismiss of the suit made from that Drake wants to go away. We've talked about that on Talk Live. UMG Music are continuing with the suit in order to make an example of Drake, and Kanye's calling it out, saying, "Okay, here's another reason why you should hate being in the music industry, because they call out these heroes which they've created and make them look like social pariahs at the end of the day if they don't serve their purposes, or if in order to as we discussed here on Talk Live, get a advantage in terms of negotiations for any new contracts that they may have. It may be skullduggerous, it may be underhanded, but this is what they do, and Kanye's called it up to light. So, to be fair and frank, touche Kanye. Let's get touche yay. Sorry. Let's continue.
See the Diddy and Cassie video, it doesn't change the fact that they're trying to make an example out of him like the Grammys did to Drake. He goes on to share a screenshot of his texts with Aiden Ross where he says, it's yay. If I call you and you ask me some dumb stuff, I'm hanging up metaphorically. I'm walking out like Playboy Cardi did. And then Aiden said, what's up, bro? Hope all is well. Nah, not no dumb stuff. Hit me. Kanye said, I prefer to be addressed as sir and to be asked to call you. Please give me a call at your earliest convenience, sir. I appreciate your heart though, sir. I never confirmed anything with Kai, but now he said he canceled me. What the F? So Aiden replies saying,
I will stop that, and I'll get back to that in just a second. I just had a few comments here in the YouTube chat. Mikel Montoya, thank you very much for signing in, saying it's all for money, the control from both sides. They, the elite. Yes, I think you can say that. I think that's honest to say that indeed This is a fight for power, and Kanye's already gone on record to say that the reason why he went independent because he did not achieve that power from within, so he's doing it from without. The only problem is that he is, he's engaging in a bit of name calling, which can be deemed as hurtful and could incite violence. Period. And I'll let you know how I feel about that at a later time. Let's continue with this rant. But thank you very much, Miguel, for your commentary, for your comments. Let's continue.
Yes, sir, I will refer to you as sir. May I call you in 2 minutes, sir? Of course I want to be your favorite Jew, sir. I just found out Kai did that too from a post, not fully sure why. I've been wanting to do our stream since 2022, sir. And Kanye replied by saying, you saying sir 4 times was condescending. I'm blocking you. Nobody finna play
Let's
with
go
me.
back
How
here for a second about his
and Lucian Grange Universal Music Group and the Vivendi Corporation used Kendrick to make an example out of Drake, then had the Grammys singing the A minor line. If Drake was taken to trial for PDF file claims, they would play that song in the courtroom and everyone that ever danced to Drake would get their popcorn and watch another black idol be thrown in jail. Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, Thug, Diddy, who's next on the hit list? Who's the next to have an example made of? When I see the Diddy and Cassie video, it doesn't change the fact that they're trying to make an example out of him like the Grammys did to Drake. He goes on to share a screenshot of his texts with Aiden Ross where he says, it's yay. If I call you and you ask me some dumb stuff, I'm hanging up metaphorically. I'm walking out like Playboy Cardi did. And then Aiden said, what's up, bro? Hope all is well. Nah, not no dumb stuff. Hit me. Kanye said, I prefer to be addressed as sir and to be asked to call you. Please give me a call at your earliest convenience, sir. I appreciate your heart though, sir. I never confirmed anything with Kai, but now he said he canceled me. What the F? So Aiden replies saying, yes, sir, I will refer to you as sir. May I call you in 2 minutes, sir? Of course I want to be your favorite Jew, sir. I just found out Kai did that too from a post, not fully sure why. I've been wanting to do our stream since 2022, sir. And Kanye replied by saying, you saying sir 4 times was condescending. I'm blocking you. Nobody finna play with me. How y'all say it? Never again. In the midst of this, one of his biggest fan pages on Twitter, Donda Times, decided that they'll no longer be posting Kanye content due to the tweets that he let out in the last 3 days. And I'm going to leave you guys with some...
So, indeed, even in the midst of all the anti-Semitic remarks, Aiden Ross still wanted an interview with him. Make that make sense. Aiden Ross, a noted Trump supporter and member of the Jewish faith, still wanted to interview him. That is not really reported to the wider and worldwide media. Just saying. But thank you very much here. I mean, there is a comment with regards to J. Cole and with regards to Kanye's state. But again, we're going to leave that and let that go. But I think that's most of the reporting we have here tonight. So with that in mind, we're only an hour in, and yet there is more. Now, again, let's see what time. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it in one, shall we? Yes, indeed. But again, let's get to this. Let's get to TMZ and what they had to say about the rant that was heard around the world. Again, TMZ that is owned by Harvey. Another Jewish owner. Not exactly well pleased with what Kanye had to say. Let's hear his clipped up report of Kanye's rant and what he had to say about things and what the public had to say. Let's continue. Shout out TMZ. Do so, like and subscribe. Doing wonderful things YouTube street. Actually, this is my favorite entertainment source. So shout out TMZ. But again, Kanye's not exactly a fan of TMZ, to be fair, and I think he went on record to say as much and went on air to say as much. Let's continue.
Turns out, I mean, yeah, I guess maybe there were some people who thought he didn't because it's been a couple of years since he went really hard on the anti-Semitism, but he's back with a vengeance and maybe saying even more direct anti-Semitic things than he had before.
This is clear now. He is a hardcore anti-Semite who celebrates the extermination of Jews.
Yes.
The way it is.
Well, you're not going to get anything from Harvey's. Harvey's always going to say that. Let's face facts. Let's continue.
So the rant actually started with a statement that, on its own, might have been controversial and would have gotten him all the attention and headlines he wanted, which was saying that he wants Diddy out of jail. He had a couple other things to say, but basically this was the essence of it. Free Puff.
Okay, and it's an interesting take. He apparently has he's had a relationship with him, and so Diddy hasn't gotten a lot of that, so he responded to it.
Yeah, on his Instagram account. I'm not sure exactly how.
I was wondering that myself.
He has access.
I was wondering that myself.
Maybe he told someone to do it, but anyway, so thank you to my brother Ye, Yeezy.com. So yeah, celebrating it.
So.
To be fair to Diddy, I know is something you don't hear a lot these days.
Diddy didn't know what was coming.
He did not know the firestorm that was about to.
So yes, Kanye sold Diddy, Sean John gear, Sean John swag, Sean John fit on his website, his Spotify website, for as much as he can, for as long as he could. But again, as we know now, his Spotify website has now been taken down, and so his fashions are not available for sale. And we await with bated breath to where things will go or what will be done with regards to his clothing line in future days and weeks to come. Let's continue.
To come because Ye was just getting warmed up, and this is where it gets really just insane. This is what he started to say about. He's always framed this as he doesn't like the business deals that he's made with Jewish people.
This is a trope, by the way.
Yes. Ain't nobody ramped up either. I'm calm as ice. This is how I really feel.
So can I stop you for a second? He is now telling everybody, you may not have believed me before. You got to believe me now.
And by the way, the reason he's saying ain't nobody ramped up is because this is after several hours of tweeting, right? So he says, ain't nobody ramped up either. I'm calm as ice. This is how I really feel.
And remember, we've heard all the rants on Talk Live right here. So it did go on for a couple of hours. Yes, it did. This was not a full be all end all, and again, he reiterates the fact that he is of sound mind and body when he's making these tweets. Let's continue.
What I really felt and how I will always feel. Blank all your blank blank unfair business deals. Any Jewish person that does business with me needs to know I don't like or trust any Jewish person, and this is completely sober with no henny. I'm a Nazi.
Oh, there's more.
And one more. Hitler was so fresh.
So, look, I'm not going to get upset.
It's not even...
I'm Jewish. I'm not going to get upset with this because I think that's what he wants. I think what you got to do at this point, whether it's performative, and it could be, or whether it's real, and I think it is,
illness.
Or it's mental illness, or it's a combination of all of those things, and it probably is. He's an anti-Semite.
But I hear what you're saying, that you don't want to express too much outrage because one, you may be just used to it. Two, you don't want to give him what he probably wants.
Right.
But there's a part of this that is still dangerous, and I understand you're saying you don't want to, have all this outrage. But there are people out there who are going to listen to it, and their reaction to it is going to be, "Yeah, the hell with Jewish people."
Oh, I think you're right.
I actually think it's pretty helpful because the rant that went on in 2022 was several years ago. And frankly, time heals all wounds. People forget, they soften it. The passage of time sort of makes
we
him
all
a
laugh
different
about
figure.
his antics going out with his wife, and she's naked at the Grammys, and people can have lighthearted feelings toward him about that stuff, right?
That's right, and this is a good reminder of this is who he is. This is his sort of thesis statement and his true feelings. He says he's not inebriated in any way. This is how he feels. He doesn't trust Jewish people. Doesn't like them.
While he's not inebriated, he still has mental illness.
Look,
we know.
like, I think you're right. It's all three of them. It's mental illness, performative, and real.
Yeah.
But here's the difference, Derek, between 2 years ago or 3 years ago and today. We're in a different world today. And the hatred you express can be a plus for you in certain corners of this country. And I feel like this kind of hatred, in some ways, has been normalized. So I'm not sure if I would be shocked 3 years ago had he said this. Weird thing is, I'm not at all shocked. And I'm not feeling that outrage like it's a thunderbolt from the sky anymore, because I don't think that's where our country is right now. I think our country has normalized a lot of this stuff.
I sadly think you're right. This is the type of rhetoric that used to marginalize you, make you a fringe character, make you a sort of white supremacist and things like that, KKK people who aren't part of the normal conversation in this country. Kanye West very much is. He's in the conversation, and you're right, where the country has moved, it has been normalized. It's almost like he's accomplished his ends.
I mean, look at this.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It is normalizing hateful behavior. It is basically giving credence to hate speech, unfortunately. And I mean, a man has a right to free speech, yes. However, you know, as we'll explain later in the show and the debate we have with Piers Morgan that we have queued up that happened last night that I thought was quite riveting, and you'll be seeing here on Talk Live. It's it can go down a very dark and sinister road, a very violent road to which, you know, may incite violence against the Jewish faith and the people of the Jewish faith, and things can be, you know, hate crimes can only ensue from this, and you know, it's sad that Kanye's taking free speech to this level, but he has, and you know, you'll hear my views on this later. Let's continue.
You've got Proud Boys who are looking for the addresses and names of FBI agents who did their job after they assaulted cops, and they're saying, we are going to get you guys. That's where I mean, we've gone that far. That's crazy. That's just crazy.
So the saddest part of this is that we actually aren't shocked by it.
No, you're right. We're not shocked by it.
Really.
And that's where we are.
Hey guys, Yessie Smiles here from Miami. And can someone please take Kanye's phone away from him? Because it's like you guys were saying, I think we're shocked, but we're really not shocked. And someone as big as him with the proof that Diddy has committed these crimes, it's like crazy to me. It's mind-blowing. So, and it kind of makes you think where his mental health really is.
Yeah, but you know, you can't just always pass things off to mental health. That people with mental issues, and many people have them, can still embrace hatred. So I think you're right.
Could be.
Yeah.
He absolutely could truly believe these things. You just, I don't know.
And there it is. Thank you very much to TMZ for that take on Kanye's tweets. I mean, Ye's tweets, and how he sees the world at this time. But let's get into finally the debate that was had on Piers Morgan yesterday. It was a very, very good debate. Let me see if there's anything else here in terms of the chat. We have a few more things. Yes, indeed. Ye is a narcissist manipulation. He can't sing live since 2022. Ye, this is all from Miguel Montoya. Thank you very much for the comments. Ye is part of the agenda. He is not a rebel. Ye is the black version of Andrew Tate now. Well, again, Andrew Tate is there are, well, remember, before there was Andrew Tate, there was Kevin Samuels. Do remember that. So if there's anybody who black who represented Andrew Tate, it was indeed the Godfather himself. So let's take that back a bit. The harsh truth about Ye, the harsh truth is Ye is to blame for the Jays. Ye blamed the Jays for Donda when he was the one who pushed, put her at risk. That is again an allegation that's yet to be founded on that. Ye is serving this purpose. So anyone will be targeted as crazy or extremists in the Trump new era. In the Trump new era, well, again, I think in the Trump new era, anybody who was considered crazy or extremist at one time may be considered a little left, a little right of center, and may be considered part of the mainstream because Trump has made it so. But thank you very much for the commentary, Miguel. To anyone else, please do as Miguel has done here. And again, comment on YouTube, comment on IG. We're going on both tonight. And yeah, it's great to hear from you, Miguel. Thank you very much for your commentary and your views. You are welcome here as always. And let's get into it. Let's get into the debate between on Piers Morgan, where simply put, Kanye is evil. Yay, censorship debate featuring Rabbi Shmuley, Myron Gain from Fresh and Fit. We have Zuby here, and also Choke No Joke. He was a hip hop aficionado, and it was a debate that that happened yesterday. So we're going to go through a few clips of it. It was a very, very good debate, to be fair and frank, very lively one. But let's go through the first few minutes here as we explain things here. And yeah, let's go through some of the commentary to begin with. Again, Piers Morgan has his usual spiel. He's not exactly accepting of what Kanye had to say. But let's hear what the guest had to say here. Let's go.
About free speech. And it seems to me, with Kanye and this tirade that's went on for days, there are two debates to be had. One is whether what he was doing was contrary to X's own rules by the same definition that they have suspended millions of accounts. And I posted a graph showing why people got suspended, a lot of it for harassment, hateful conduct, and so on. So I think there's literally no dispute or doubt that he did. So the question remains, why was he then not suspended, but able to leave voluntarily? But the wider debate that I think you and I were having was about freedom of speech.
Just stopping it there. Fair use, fair use, fair use, people. This is used for educational purposes. Fair use. Let's continue.
That begins and ends. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you seem to be suggesting that you don't think there is an end. In other words, you can say absolutely anything you want, to which I would say, well, I don't think you should be able to say to 32 million people on a platform that you want to make Jewish people your slaves and whip them. Do you?
Well, I think the thing is, when Elon took over X, he wanted to mirror it with the First Amendment. And the First Amendment allows a broad range of speech to be allowed. And the reality is, if we don't have free speech, we don't have a democracy. And that's literally from Elon Musk himself. Now, we want to talk about unequal punishment on X, based on some people saying, doesn't any...
If anybody's unfamiliar with Myron Gaines here, he is one of the hosts of Fresh and Fit, one of the biggest red pill content creators on YouTube, on the internet, period. I subscribe to him. I think he's quite informative with regards to red pill content. But he does have an idea with regards to some of Kanye's views, and he's, I believe, in full support of his free speech. Let's continue.
Punishing people saying this and not getting punished, that's a whole other conversation. But I think if you're going to mirror the First Amendment with Twitter, then you need to allow that speech in.
Right, but look, on the first point about X's rules, he clearly transgressed pretty much every rule they have. I think that's unarguable. So it's very long to explain why, in the end, he was only censored, which he was, because he posted legal pornography. It seems to me extraordinary that legal pornography is deemed to be more offensive and more worthy of censorship than saying that you should make Jews your slaves and whip them. So let me bring in on that, Zuby. You and I have debated free speech many times, but on that specific point, I mean, do you view the publication of legal pornography on X as better or worse than what he said about making Jews slaves and whipping them?
If I'm being honest, I think it's all bad. I don't think that hardcore pornography should be on X. If I'm being honest, it's not on any other social media platform. And a big reason for that is because kids use these platforms. And if you've got that many followers and you start posting pornography, then naturally you're going to get some minors seeing it. And so that in itself is a problem. When it comes to...
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with what Zuby had to say there. Yeah, I mean, any user of X can post pornographic scenes on X. Such is the free speech that is allowed on X. And again, it's very much consumable by not only adults, but children. And that is something that we need to strike and get away from, because, again, we don't want to be giving bad and undue influence on children by allowing for them to see, pornography for free on such a platform, such a huge platform such as X. So let's continue.
To inciting violence or calling for violence, I think it's fair to say that he did cross that line. I mean, if you're saying to whip a certain race or ethnic group of people, whether he's pretending, and you've got the wider context of everything he's been saying beyond that, you'd have to go through it post by post. I think a lot of them, vast majority of them, I'm not a fan of. I would condemn what he's saying, but I would support his right to free speech. But when it comes up to the point of calling for violence, which he did in that specific one that you brought up, then yeah, that's a clear violation. I don't run X. I'm not Elon. I'm not a moderator, so I'm not in charge of that. I'm a very staunch advocate for freedom of speech.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a line.
It sounds like.
And again, and just to let it be known, I wanted him to say it so eloquently, but I am in agreement with what Zuby has to say there. One is entitled to free speech, but once it incites violence against a group or a race or a religion of people, that's where you got to draw the line, because again, words can become actions in short fashion, and we shouldn't tolerate such ideas. So to that, I would have to admonish Kanye, unfortunately, for saying such things, and such as whipping Jews, and because again, we as black people, we as the black diaspora would not like it said about us, especially in with regards to slavery and Jim Crow laws or anything as such. And again, it's not something that we should be advocating for against any other people, religion, race, gender, sexual orientation, and the like. So again, I am very much against that. And again, I think Kanye should apologize for said statements, because again, they do cross a line. Let's continue.
You share my view. I mean, bringing in the rabbi here. I mean, Rabbi, if I was Jewish, I'm not. I'm an Irish Catholic. If I was Jewish, I'd have been utterly sickened by the constant tirade of blatantly anti-Semitic garbage that was.
What happened there?
Being spewed by Kanye West. How are you feeling?
First of all, you're an honorary Jew because you've really supported Israel through this war, and we're grateful, Pierce. Tolerating the intolerable is the liberalism of fools. You can speak about being a free speech absolutist, but there must be three exceptions: incitement to violence, commission of violence, and admission of violence. What's missing from this discussion is not that Kanye said that Jews should be whipped. It's that Kanye said that he has beaten women, and he said that women should be slapped, and his wife is in an abusive relationship. And Bianca Sensori's family, who live in Melbourne, Australia, have done nothing to rescue her. Are we talking about whether there should be pornography on X? There was pornography at the Grammys. Professional lip readers had him tell his wife, Bianca Sensori, take your mink coat off, and she is totally glassy-eyed. There's no free agency. She's an abused wife. She's an abused woman. How is the media becoming complicit in the absolute degradation and humiliation of this woman who he claims to have dominion over. And he says he slaps her around and he says that he has practiced violence against women. Where is law enforcement? Why hasn't he been arrested? Why hasn't there been an investigation? Where is the rest of Hollywood and the Grammys to condemn violence against women? The two most targeted victim groups in history are Jews and women. And notice that Kanye, the ultimate bully, goes after both. And let me say one final thing. I utterly reject any belief that Kanye is sick. He is not. He is wicked. There's a big difference. He knows when to turn it off. At the Grammys, he was completely normal. He wasn't there and naked in any way. It was all about his wife. He didn't lose it. He said you're going to get a lot of attention. Everything he does is willful. It is motivated by a desire for attention, building his businesses. He is not crazy. That is an excuse. He is wicked and he is evil.
Yeah. And
again, Rabbi Shmuley, very much entitled to his opinion, and he let his thoughts known as a proud member of the Jewish faith. And so, we are, he's entitled to that opinion, I think, and he's brought up a few good points with regards to Kanye and his treatment of his alleged treatment, Ye's alleged treatment of his wife Bianca Censori. Let's hear from what Choke No Joke has to say.
I would add to this, Choke No Joke, that one of the most offensive things he did for me in his defense of Diddy, for example, he suddenly produced a T-shirt which was a scene from the hotel lobby or the corridor where Diddy had beaten up one of his girlfriends, and it had her in the picture, right? This was literally a crime scene of appalling domestic abuse that we all saw the video, and he's trying to sell a T-shirt based on it. Now, that alone, to me, crossed any kind of line that should be tolerable.
Of which Diddy directed people to go to Yeezy.com and purchase. Take it as it will. Take it as you will. Let's continue.
For social media.
Yeah, well, first of all, how you doing, Pierce? Thanks for having me back.
Good to see you.
All right. Like the rabbi said, Kanye is just doing all this for attention. He's not the topic of discussion in hip hop no more. The Super Bowl was going
Well,
on.
I beg to differ. He's any album that he has to release is pretty much, one of the bigger albums of any year. So I disagree with that statement. Let's continue.
It was Kendrick's moment. He's trying to steal his shine because it's not about him. It's about Kendrick and Drake right now. And he is an embarrassment to the black man. He is a pure embarrassment to the black community. 97% of us don't approve of what he's doing. He's disrespectful to women. I promise you, no disrespect to the Caucasian woman, but if that was a strong, sophisticated black woman, she would not have took her clothes off on that red carpet to satisfy Kanye chasing clout, which is fame or the spotlight. And
now that remains to be seen, and that's a bit of a statement of a bravado there made by Choke No Joke, which he's entitled to, be fair. But for those who are desperate for fame, many, even black women, are willing to do anything in order to obtain it. Let's continue.
And I know Kanye. I was there the day he got signed at Rockefeller. I met his mother. I've been in his apartment. I know the humble Kanye that fame, once he's allegedly sold his soul to this game, he became this dark person. And what, like the rabbi said, what he's doing is very evil. I don't think that that's freedom of speech, what he's doing. That can incite a riot. That can incite a hate attack on the Jewish community. And all he's doing it for is attention. There's nothing wrong with him. He's just mad because he's not relevant right now.
You know what? I agree. In fact, when I interviewed him at length over a year ago, he categorically denied that he had any mental illness. And I also asked him if he had any regrets, because he'd been through a storm about abusing Jewish people before, about saying he wanted to go DEFCON 3, DEATH, DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. And I asked him if he regretted it. Let's see what he said. You've now changed what you wanted to say originally. My question for you is, do you now regret saying DEFCON 3 on Jewish people? Are you sorry you said that?
No.
I don't think it matters. You should be.
Absolutely not.
When you insult the Jewish people and say you're going DEFCON 3 on the Jewish people, that is as racist as anything you say you've been through and any pain that you've experienced. It's the same thing. Racism is racism. And you know that, I think, don't you?
Yeah, obviously. That's why I said it.
So you said it knowing it's racist?
Yes. I fought fire with fire.
Okay.
I'm not here to get hosed down.
At least that's
It's a different
honest.
type of freedom fighter. I will say I'm sorry for the people that I hurt with the DEFCON, the confusion that I call. I feel like I cause hurt and confusion. And I'm sorry for the families of the people that had nothing to do with the trauma that I had been through, and that I use my platform where you say hurt people. And I was hurt.
But the truth is, he wasn't sorry about the hurt. Otherwise, he wouldn't have carried on doing it for the last 3 days. And just to bring you back, Myron, if I can.
He's back to gaining, and I guarantee you, there's some music coming down the pipeline.
Right.
That's why he's doing this.
Yeah.
To be fair, Frankie is again. He's got Bully coming out in June, and again, this sets things in motion so that he can promote his product. Let's see what people have said out there on Talk Talk Live. Thank you very much for joining me on Talk Talk Live. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We have a few more comments from Miguel. He's saying the harsh truth is Ye's to blame. Oh no, sorry, we got that on. You have a few more here. Ye is serving his purpose. So anyone who will be targeted as crazy or extremist in the Trump new era. Yeah, well, again, I think we got all those comments from previous on, so we're just checking to see if indeed that was the case. Let's go back into what will become a very heated debate between these five individuals, and let's hear from what again Myron from Fresh and Fit has to say about the Ye spat.
It's attention seeking for personal gain. Myron, let me bring you back in, because yesterday when you were getting into it with me about what you perceive to be censorship, you said, why the fuck are you calling for censorship when you have a show called Uncensored? The hypocrisy is incredible. But I was calling for a censorship of blatant, threatening violence in the language, abuse of Jewish people and of women, including trying to market a T-shirt based around an incident of criminal domestic abuse. Surely you would agree with that censorship, wouldn't you?
No, I don't believe in censorship. I think, context matters, and it's very obvious that, he's doing this as a marketing plug. I mean, look, we're talking about it right now, so he's done a fantastic job. He had a commercial with the Super Bowl. He's the talk of the town right now. He's basically stolen the attention from Kendrick Lamar. Some people here are trying to say that Kendrick is more relevant than Kanye when it comes to hip-hop, but he's stolen the attention how? From really smart marketing. Now, with that said, I don't think anyone's ability to speak should ever be censored. Now, do I like everything that he says? No, but I'm going to fight for his ability to say it. I also think it's important to note that sarcasm and humor and making jokes is a part of what he was saying. Is he really going to run around and slap women? No. Obviously, he's being sarcastic, he's being funny, he's being edgy. And I think that's important because we need people like that pushing the envelope so we can protect free speech.
But he was literally trying to sell a T-shirt which had imagery of his friend Diddy, his new friend apparently, because they fell out, his friend Diddy involved in a criminal act of abuse against a woman. Literally, that's what he was doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's America.
Well, hang on one second. Just to be clear, though, Myron. Just to be clear, Myron, you think that was acceptable?
Again, capitalism is capitalism. Do I agree with it? Do I like it? Maybe not. However, I will support his ability to do it because he's obviously marketing things. He thinks maybe he has some dark humor that he wants to do where he thought that was funny. But the reality is that this is America and capitalism is a thing here.
So when Elon Musk,
hang on one second.
Yeah, it's yeah, Myron is not one to mince words, especially in these sort of this sort of subject matter. So Myron quite simply states this is capitalism, this is free speech, and he's entitled to say what he wants to say, entitled to be as edgy as he wants to be, entitled to sell what he wants to sell, even if it involves, a candid look at domestic violence, a very public look at domestic violence, and yeah, I mean, there's no account for good taste. And Kanye has clearly stepped across the bounds of good taste in this instance, but it's marketable and it draws attention to him, and that's exactly what he wanted. So he gets what he wants. So that's what we're here to say. But in terms of if it indeed is the right thing to do, and it is in a tasteful fashion, I would have to say no in this instance. Let's continue.
So I'll come to all of you. So just to be clear, Myron, when Elon Musk replied yesterday to someone on X and said that he was now being censored for the legal pornography that he was posting, did you agree with that?
Well, I don't like pornography, but again, it is legal. There's a 3-part test in America with the Miller test to see if it suffices. And, you can make the argument that, it didn't cause any issues as far as...
So Elon was wrong to censor him?
With pornography?
Yes.
Well, again, I don't like porn. I don't think it should be on X at all, personally.
Okay, so you agree with censorship?
For pornography.
Right. Just to be clear, you agree with censorship?
No, I agree with pornography not being on X. I think it needs to be contained in a certain way.
But it's legal. It was legal what he was posting.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, I don't have to like it or agree with it.
But what about his free speech rights to post it? If he wants to, if it's legal.
Well, that's a whole other thing. I think with X and pornography, there needs to be some kind of middle ground where, if it's going to be on X, there needs to be a way where it's not necessarily on the main feed, but that's a whole other
So you agree with
discussion.
censorship, don't you, Myron? I mean, for all your chat on Twitter to me yesterday, you actually agree with it.
To compare censorship of pornography to censorship on political speech or
so you think saying that you should treat Jews like slaves and whip them, or bitches deserve to be slapped, that is not, or try to sell a T-shirt of a domestic crime being committed, you think none of those things are worse than posting legal pornography?
Yeah, I find it interesting that you're, harping on this, but there's people that monetize murder and death all the time in the hip-hop industry. There's people that
I don't agree with that either.
Well, I'm sorry?
I don't agree with that either.
Exactly. You don't have to agree with it for it to happen or for it to be allowed.
No, I'm curious why you think only the pornography, which was legal, to be clear, should be censored. You didn't think any of the other stuff should be. What's the difference?
Pornography and political speech? Completely different.
No, pornography and saying that Jews should be whipped and treated as slaves.
Well, that's speech. I mean, if he wants to say that, you know what I mean? I don't have to agree with it, but I think if he wants to say that, he should say that. I mean...
So again, consenting adults having sex and posting that is not acceptable, but treating Jews or saying Jews should be slaves and be whipped, that is acceptable for you.
Speech, you cannot conflate speech with pornography, Pierce.
Why
I see
not?
what you're trying to...
Why not?
They're not the same whatsoever.
Why aren't they the same thing?
No, they're not.
Why not?
No,
Explain why the difference.
Because in order to allow speech in, you need to allow all speeches so that people can come in and be able to have ideas, right? We need to
What's wrong with people having sex?
But if you're going to go ahead and say, oh, yeah, let's go ahead and conflate that with pornography, well, there's nothing really to debate there, any real discourse that could be had with pornography of watching people have sex. It's not the same whatsoever, and to try to conflate the two is ridiculous.
Why? One is legal, and the other one is actually illegal. To treat people like slaves and whip them would be illegal. Actually, pornography, legal pornography, is legal.
No,
so you're actually you're in favor of censoring something that's legal, but you're not in favor of censoring something that's illegal. I find that fascinating.
Yeah. Him saying that is actually protected under the First Amendment. Hate speech
actually,
is
it's
protected
not.
under...
That's the point. It's not. You don't even know. You don't know enough about your own First Amendment. I seem to know more than you. Although, just to be clear, I have a house in America. When I come to America, like anyone who comes to America, you are automatically protected by the First Amendment as well, right? So I know a lot about the First Amendment. First Amendment actually bans a lot of things, including incitement to violence, incitement to violent hatred.
Anyone that was looking at tweets, right? Anyone that was looking at his tweets that has any level of common sense understands that it's dark humor, understands he's trolling, it's marketing. He doesn't really mean
Nothing funny about it at all. Let me.
Yes. I mean, as stated, Myron is very, very much a dyed in the wool. He tends to be a little more right wing in his political outlook, and also he's very, very much a free speech advocate, as is seen here by his commentary here. And even if it does, even if the free speech may be hurtful in way, shape, or form, it's the fact of the matter is Myron believes that it should be allowed under the First Amendment under the First Amendment of the Constitution, which involves freedom of speech. And again, Piers is commenting that there are limits to free speech. If it does incite violence, if it does incite hatred. And again, I think Myron may have to be called out for that. Touche, Mr. Piers Morgan. But let's speed this up just a little bit here. Yes. Let's speed. I'll let this segment finish up, and then we're gonna speed it up to a bit more. Incendiary language and debate upcoming. Let's continue.
You bring in Zuby. You've been watching very intently, Zuby. I mean, look, I think what we've just established with Myron, with respect to him, is that when you try and be a free speech absolutist, it gets very complicated very quickly. Because I can't for the life of me, and maybe you can articulate it better, but I can't for the life of me understand why Elon Musk, with his action yesterday, censors the legal pornography. And by the way, I agree with him. He should have done that. But that he doesn't censor any of the blatantly illegal things that Kanye was spewing, notably the fact that you should treat Jews like slaves and whip them. That is actually a crime in America to encourage people to do that, to incite that level of. Well, hang on, Myron. I'm going to zoom here. It seems to me that once you get into absolutism about this, it just gets complicated very fast.
Just to let you know, Kanye, you won't be able to see those tweets on X. Ye has taken down those tweets. He's taken down his X account off of X. So his job is done. His purpose has been served, and so he's retracted those statements. But again, it doesn't stop anyone from saving those tweets. We'll let Zuby continue with his opinion. Thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live on IG and YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000
right. Look,
subscribers.
it does get complicated, and the reality is that different people have different lines. Different nations have different lines. Every single country has different laws when it comes to freedom of speech, freedom of expression, even things that are graphic, visual things like pornography and so on. Some people will say that falls under freedom of speech. Some people will say that it doesn't. Going beyond that, though, this is all happening on a platform, and social media platforms have the right to set their boundaries where they want the boundaries to be. On Facebook and YouTube, for example, you absolutely cannot post pornography in any form. However, on X/Twitter, for whatever reason, throughout its entire history, they have allowed that. A lot of people oppose it, but for whatever reason, they let that go. So the truth is, ultimately, we can discuss the First Amendment, we can discuss laws in different countries, but I think in this particular case, the question is really about X and the X policies and what is enforced and what is not enforced and what crosses the line and what doesn't. I would absolutely say, look, I don't even think I saw every single thing that Kanye posted. I don't use X on Sundays, but from what I saw, the vast majority of the posts were certainly egregious, but they didn't cross a line outside of what is within the bounds of the First Amendment. When it gets to something like calling for violence, I think that's pretty clear cut.
Yeah.
So from what I saw, there were probably like 3 or 4 tweets.
Yeah.
Maybe somewhere between 2 to 4 tweets that crossed that line. So I'm not going to sit here and defend Kanye. I will defend the principle of free speech. Like Myron said, I don't think that pornography should be on X anyway. I think that's a whole separate conversation. So I think I can say that I think a lot of what he said was wrong. and I can be very critical of it, but the vast majority of it I would not say is ban-worthy. However, there were a couple posts where he did cross the lines, and it's up to X how and when they enforce that.
Yeah, and Rabbi Shmuley, I would say that I'm a big fan of Elon Musk, and I'm a big fan of his free speech defense, which I think he's been very proactive in. But I think he's discovered it is very complicated sometimes, because there's no doubt to me that if any ordinary person had been spewing what Kanye was spewing, they'd have been suspended very quickly, as they would be on any social media platform. And what struck me as astonishing, I even directly posted to Elon saying, can you please do something about this? This guy is doing this with utter impunity and quite deliberately testing your limits of what free speech are. And the truth is, there are limits. That's why the First Amendment has limits to it. You know, and that's why you've got to have some limits. Otherwise, people do what Kanye West did, which, by the way, he was doing it to 32 million people, Rabbi Shmuley. So 32 million people were seeing a very high-profile rap star boasting about being a Nazi, boasting about loving Hitler, boasting about wanting to, or ordering people, instructing them to make Jews be their slaves and whip them, saying that bitches deserve to get slapped, trying to sell T-shirts with domestic crimes on them. All of this, I thought, was just completely outrageous and not a matter of free speech.
Let's hear what Mr. Shmuley has to say.
This interview, respectfully, will be on your highlight career, living in infamy. It is not funny to murder 1.5 million children. It is not funny to rampage through the Jewish community surrounding Gaza, beheading Jews and non-Jews, including Thai workers with spades. I saw their beheaded bodies. For God's sake, there's real consequences to this hate. There used to be an alliance between the black and Jewish communities, knowing that we were hated for no reason other than the fact that we were different. I ask you, Zuby, you believe in free speech completely? If I'm David Duke and I'm saying, you know, in 1964 in Birmingham, Alabama, we blew up churches, the Klan, and we burned 4 young black girls alive. Let's go do it again. Let's organize it. Sunday, this coming Sunday, 3 o'clock, we're going to burn those black girls alive. And you're going to say, well, he has a right to say, give me a break. What you're going to say is that this man is a disgusting, filthy, excuse me, a disgusting, filthy racist. Now, wait, now just a second.
Go for it.
Kanye did not incite violence. He confessed to violence. He said, I beat up women. And Myron, who the heck are you to say that he didn't mean it? Do you have evidence? You mean he's lying and you're telling the truth? We saw what happened with Diddy. And by the way, the only person here with any dignity in this debate is Choke No Joke, who's saying that this is offensive to black men. Do you guys not understand this is feeding every stereotype of black rappers? I love the black community. The greatest American of the 20th century was Martin Luther King, who died so that people could have dignity. But that's not what a lot of people think. A lot of people think that rappers are into using the word B-I-T-C-H-E-S, and Kanye says, I'm a billionaire. And Choke No Joke comes along and says this is offensive to the stereotypes of black men. And it is. And you guys are frickin' defending this. I want to be clear. I'm sick of anti-Semitism. I'm sick of racism. There are white racists, nationalists who hate black people. Some of them are around President Trump, even though I think he's a great friend of the black community, but he has those voices. We have Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson denies the Holocaust, and yet he's in the president's ear. He denies the Holocaust.
All right,
Please stop defending hatred.
Okay, I want to come to Choke No Joke.
Again, very plausible points raised by Rabbi Shmuley. It is, politics begins at home. And one is always very defensive when it comes to your own race, but when it comes to others, then people can be very free and liberal in terms of how they feel about other races and the hatred they bring towards them. And I think Rabbi Shmuley was trying to put other people in his shoes and realize that indeed these sort of comments can be deemed as hurtful, especially if they can be one to incite violence against a certain race, religion, creed, sexual orientation, and gender. as he drew to our attention Ye's use of some alleged use of domestic violence against his wife and his alleged sale of Diddy's criminal act of domestic violence against his ex, that being Cassie. But let's hear what Myron has to say here.
In a moment, but I think it's only fair and right that I go to both the people you've just spray gunned and get them to respond. So, Myron, your response to Rabbi Shmuley.
Yeah, again, I find it incredible that he's over here so critical of Kanye West, right? About, oh, he beats his wife, whatever. Meanwhile, you're walking around with a war criminal that's killed hundreds of thousands of innocent people, bombed them indiscriminately, etc. I find it very interesting that you're so hardcore on Twitter about some tweets that may or may not have been a joke, more than likely a joke. Anyone that has common sense, sarcasm, dark humor, etc., versus you're running around with someone that's literally a war criminal wanted by the ICC that's killed tens of thousands of innocent children. Right?
The person he's referring to is Benjamin Netanyahu, the leader of Israel. Let's continue.
Right? And then you're over here calling for censorship. I'm tired of anti-Semitism. I'm tired of racism. People like you are the fucking problem, because here's the thing. Americans are tired of censorship. We're tired of being browbeat into being virtue-signaling losers like you, who always sit there and try to raise people and say, oh, you go ahead and you provoke problems with people. I've literally seen you do this. You go up to people, you provoke them, and they tell you fuck off, and then you get mad and you yell anti-Semitism. Quite literally, what I want to hear is this. Rabbi Shmuley, until you can actually call people liars for what they say, no one cares about anti-Semitism anymore. You guys run around, use it for everything. We're tired of it. Stop trying to browbeat us and virtue signal, saying, oh, that's anti-Semitic. How about this? When you can call someone a liar for what they're saying, then we'll start taking you more seriously. Other than that, you're a fucking dildo rabbi.
All right, Zuby, your turn.
Okay.
That's okay. What Myron had to say there is not exactly the kindest of words to the rabbi. So again, please excuse any commentary there. Myron went a little over and above, but again, Myron has a tendency to do that on occasion if you do not know his content on Fresh and Fit. So, yeah. Again, any apologies for anyone who had to witness that, and but again, unnecessary to call names in this instance. Let's continue.
May I
you can reply in a moment. Zuby, to respond to you first. Zuby?
All right, I'm going to keep it calm. I'm going to take the high ground here, because that was a heck of a lot of straw manning going on there, because you know that I did not support what was said. I did not support anything hateful, and I actually very clearly said that I don't support inciting violence, and in fact, that is a clear violation. So you can try to straw man my position, but people can listen to this interview.
You did say
exactly
that. I heard you very clearly say that.
Freedom of speech means racism. It means anti-Semitism.
It doesn't. The trouble is, Myron, it doesn't mean you incite violence. That's the line.
Myron, I didn't interrupt you. Myron, let me interrupt you. Myron, let me respond calmly. Myron, let me respond calmly, please. This is speaking over each other doesn't serve the interests of the public, please.
I understand that, but I'm saying,
why don't you finish interrupting me and then I'll speak?
Okay, because you've been yapping the whole time.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Myron.
Thank you, Myron. Thank you.
Don't talk over each other, because nobody can hear what anyone's saying.
Okay, Myron, thank you for showing your true colors. You believe that when Jews defend themselves against genocidal acts of violence, that we are the genocidaires. We Jews are never victims. You said that I provoke anti-Semitic attacks. I was recently attacked by someone while I was working on the acceptance speech of one of President Trump's cabinet picks, by the way. It's because he's a friend, did it as a favor. When a crazy Islamist came over and threatened to murder me, it was filmed. It was watched by tens of millions of people. You believe that Jews are never the victims of anti-Semitism. They are the They are the culprits of anti-Semitism. They're the culprits. We invite anti-Semitism. This is the oldest. You have to let me speak. This is the oldest anti-Semitic trope in the book, that we Jews want to shake down the world for money because we're money obsessed. You are saying exactly what Kanye said. Now, I wouldn't stop you from saying it. You're a Kanye supporter because you agree with this ideology, and I have no problem with you saying it, because you're not calling for me to be whipped. You're not calling for me to be enslaved. So you can say it. You are a Jew hater, and you have a right to be a Jew hater. I agree with, because I'm a free speech absolutist. But Kanye West.
To be fair, Myron doesn't have a very high, elevated idea of the Jewish people. See if that should fit. Let's continue.
Says, I beat women. His wife was ordered by him to strip naked. You're opposed to pornography, and you support what he did at the Grammys to that poor, abused woman? Let me ask you, Myron, why don't you speak out against what Kanye did to his wife if you hate pornography?
Again, I don't like pornography. I don't support it, right? You don't have to agree with someone 100% to still be able to defend them. Like I said before, there's people that hold views that I dislike, but I'll defend their ability to say it because I have freedom of speech. Whether it's racist, it's anti-Semitic, or whatever else, term people want to use, I believe in freedom of speech, and that means protecting speech that you might not like. Also, you lied. You walked up to Sneeko, you tried to provoke him during the election night, and he ended up embarrassing you. So you do go up and try to instigate arguments with people, and then you call it anti-Semitism when they respond to you.
Okay, let me get a choke no joke. Hang on. Choke no jokes, be ready very patiently. Look, you can see how quickly this escalates into a lot of ad hominem attacks. What would you feel?
I would like to say, first, let's I'm sorry, what's your brother, the brother name? Myron? What's your name? Myron, brother, please, we on the world stage, man. I don't know if you're African American, or I see you colored. I don't know if you're Black, African American, but brother, please. Because one, we're talking about racism.
It's not race. Idea's not race.
Hold on, brother. We're talking about race. We're talking about racism here, right? Now, if Pierce went on X and said Black people should be hung by trees and whipped, right? Would you not think that we would not have the same feeling that the Jewish community is having right now with Kanye making these types of tweets?
You know what? I wouldn't really care if Pierce said that, because I would say it's the freedom of speech. You can say that if you want. I might not like it, but again,
my question to you is, as Black people, would we be offended as the Jewish community? People would be offended right now.
Here's what I'm trying to say: fuck your feelings, dude. Nobody cares. Freedom of speech is freedom of speech. I don't care how you feel. You need to allow people to say what they want to say. If you don't like it, that's fine.
Okay.
But
here's the problem. Hang on. Here's the problem I have with this. Is that Zuby has very clearly drawn a line, right? Zuby, I know from interview. Hang on. Zuby has always passionately defended free speech, as indeed have I. But like me, he draws a clear line when people are inciting violence. There is no doubt that is what Kanye West was doing. And the only member of the panel who has not denounced that is you, Myron.
Yeah, I think that Pierce is right in this instance. Pierce is correct in stating that there's a Pierce, Zuby, and also Choke No Joke all are right in stating that there's a line to be crossed in terms of free speech and the incitement of violence against the people, against the gender, against a race, against a religion. And yeah, it's unfortunate if things rise to such a contention. But free speech there should be limits on free speech, especially in instances where indeed the tensions are high, especially against the Jewish community, and there's a lot of hate crimes against Jews happening right now, especially in the Trump era, and such incitement is only fuels the fire instead of quelling the flames. Let's continue.
And I'm baffled why you can't draw a line that is drawn by your own First Amendment.
Again, because I have the common sense to realize that he's not talking about really beating women. It's a joke. He's been making tweets trolling the whole day.
Brother, how do you know it's a joke? How do you know it's a joke?
It's very obvious a joke.
Can I finish my point?
Have you
asked him? Can I finish my point?
Have you asked him if it's a joke?
Let me finish my point. First of all, brother, listen. Brother, listen. You said, right, that it can be dark humor. You said it's common sense. Everybody don't have common sense. Kanye has fans that will do and follow whatever he does, right? I've seen his career go from the beginning up to now. I've seen people being influenced by him. I've seen people dress like him. I've seen people talk like him. So if he's influencing these hatred things, talking about he's Adolf Hitler and influencing his audience to hate Jews, influencing his audience to disrespect women, to influence young black men to have their women walk around naked. He has that influence, brother. So when you say, oh, it's just common sense, it's just dark humor, you're saying that because you lived a little to learn to know. The youth, the young black men, they don't know. Like they thought in hip hop, dudes was really killing and shooting and stuff, and they thought that these people were real gangsters. That birthed the drill music. Because when they found out this guy was a wankster, he wasn't real, they had to go and shoot and kill first, then go to the studio. So it has influence, brother. Yeah. And you breaking my heart because I watch you sometimes, and I didn't know that you would be, you're not ignorant, but what you're saying is pure ignorance right now. Everybody knows my Instagram is real choke, no joke, right? I get censored for just telling the truth, being a strong heterosexual man, and I'm censored. What Kanye doing is not freedom of speech, it's hate. You know what I'm saying?
And that's a very interesting point, because a lot of people get suspended for far less than what Kanye said. Zuby, again, I want to bring you back in here. Some people say, look, the best sunlight, and the sunlight can sometimes be...
I just want to move a little further on here.
In the same way, if someone goes up to someone and insults someone's mother...
Yeah, I just want to just fast forward a little bit to something Rabbi Shmuley had to say here, and I think this brings it home for me, and I think for you, the viewer, and again, what hateful speech can do if put in the wrong hands. Let's continue.
Wait a second, Rabbi.
Because again, common sense is not common. Let's continue.
Wait a second, Rabbi. Everyone, wait. I'm interested in Zuby's response to that. If somebody came up and abused you like that, what you're saying, I think, is that you would deal with it how you want to deal with it.
Exactly. Look, there are all sorts of things. Look, we're all grown men here. We all know that if you go up to a man and you just start insulting him, insulting his sister, insulting his family, calling him names or whatever, we all know that could result in physical violence. It doesn't mean that you're going to run away and you're going to call the police and say that, he was being hateful and so on. And people insult each other all the time, online, offline. There's all sorts of nastiness that exists.
Well, let me rewind it back a little bit here. Just
hey, get out the way. Do you support that?
I support his right to say it, and he can deal with the consequences.
And you don't feel no way about it. You're just going to go.
I'm not going to. He said he can deal with the consequences. But to be for you, what were the consequences?
I'm not going to call the police on him.
Okay.
It could get physical.
Pierce.
In the same way, if someone goes up to someone and insults someone's mother...
one of the most... Wait a second, Rabbi Shmuley. Wait a second, Rabbi. Everyone, wait. I'm interested in Zuby's response to that. If somebody came up and abused you like that, what you're saying, I think, is that you would deal with it how you want to deal with it.
Exactly. Look, there are all sorts of things. Look, we're all grown men here. We all know that if you go up to a man and you just start insulting him, insulting his sister, insulting his family, calling him names or whatever, we all know that could result in physical violence. It doesn't mean that you're going to run away and you're going to call the police and say that,
Hold on, let's just move this.
Black men wanted to file your women. The Germans said the same thing about Jewish men in Germany. Now, that's one of the things that people feel most strongly about. I have to protect my women. I have to protect my wife. Then we saw lynchings. Choke No Joke made a very good point. We saw all these lynchings. Those lynchings were a direct reaction to, look at Emmett Till. Emmett Till was 14 years old. Arguably the most famous lynching in American history. They cut off his penis and put it into his mouth. We now have his coffin at the Smithsonian National Black History Museum because they said that he whistled. at a white woman. Even a 14-year-old boy wanted to rape a black woman. Now, was that incitement to violence? Of course it was. The Klan is all about incitement to violence. When the Klan says that the black man by voting is going to take over the entire South and take your women and take your jobs, that is incitement to violence. That's why, Zuby, with all due respect, you're just being too general. You're not giving any strict categories here. Now,
I
with
think I've been
Kanye, we know he said he beat
specific.
women. There's no reason to say he was joking. We also know he said that Jews should be whipped. He's inciting violence against Jews. Now the question is the rest of the defamatory things, that Jews are parasites, that Jews steal your money. Or what we just heard from Myron, that we Jews are guilty of genocide, killing that Netanyahu is a war criminal. Is that not incitement to violence? You're saying the Jews... Oh, wait a second, please. You're saying the Jews are murderers. Now, let's be clear.
Well, hang on. No, I'm going to stop you there. Now, hang on, Rabbi Shmuley, because you said at the start of this, by the way, that you wanted to thank me for being an honorary Jew for supporting Israel, as if somehow I've given you a blanket support. I haven't. I've been very critical of what Israel's been doing, particularly in the last few months. And in relation to Netanyahu, it may well end up that he faces war crime charges. So, let's be clear. Hang on. My point is this: criticizing a government or a prime minister or a president when they are waging warfare is completely legitimate. Right? You may not agree with the terminology. I don't, for argument's sake. I don't believe it should be termed genocide. What's happening, but I do believe that Israel, having had a right and the duty to defend itself, I think has gone way too far. Now,
right. So, I thank Piers Morgan for this debate. I think it was lively. It was eventful, full of information. And again, if you guys want to see it in full, please go to PiersMorgan.com. Piers Morgan Uncensored. He's doing bang up business in the YouTube streets. He's up to 50.7 million subscribers on his channel. But again, his debates are fantastic. And to bring these groups of individuals, Myron, Zuby, Rabbi Shmuley, and Choke No Joke, I think it gives rise to orderly discourse, and quite simply, it was a fantastic debate. But let me just bring it back to myself, and we'll bring this to a close here, and my views on the subject. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just bring it back to full screen here. Oh yes, full cam. Ladies and gentlemen, I think when given all the evidence here, we're just over the 2-hour mark. When given all the evidence here, we have to take into account what has been said by Kanye over the last couple of days and weeks. We have to take into account what he has done over the last few days and weeks, and that is try to control the zeitgeist, try to bring attention to himself through anti-Semitic tweets, through advocacy of violence against women, advocacy of violence, alleged advocacy of violence towards women, towards alleged anti-Semitic remarks, towards alleged fat shaming, towards alleged simple diminution of his fans, if that is a word, and belittling of his fans. I think that's better. And it is not exactly bringing truth to power, nor is it bringing a good amount of attention unto himself. Now, again, in terms of my opinion on this subject, I think it was exemplified right there in that debate between the 5 individuals there on Piers Morgan Uncensored, and in particular, it brings my attention to what Zuby had to say. I believe Kanye has a right to free speech. I believe Kanye has a right to promote his product as he wishes. I believe he has a right to say what he wants to say, but there is a line. Unfortunately, there is a line that you can't cross. And anti-Semitic remarks in which he's advocating for violence against Jews, in which he's allegedly advocating for violence against Jews, in which he's allegedly advocating for violence against women, and hatred amongst peoples. It It is a line that you shouldn't cross. I think that Kanye did cross in this instance, and it is unfortunate that things have come to this point where he has to do this in order to promote his product and to gain the eyeballs of individuals. Because again, Kanye is good enough on his own to bring attention to his product. I think he's a musical genius. I think he is for 20 plus years been able to basically be one of the leading lights of hip hop of a genre period, and be an influence to hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people. And it is he is entitled to free speech, but to do it this way, I think it brings a bit of shame on his name. Now again, I think my fandom of Kanye, of this Kanye here, I think it will continue to a point where said alleged violence is taken beyond the pale, in which said violence is indeed evidenced, and people take his words as gospel and use it towards violence against color, creed, religion, sexual orientation, and gender, et al. And it's just a shame that Kanye that Ye has to go down these roads. Again, I keep saying Ye, but it's so easy for me to say Kanye. It's a simple word, but I do not want to insult one of my musical heroes this way. But again, I think he's going about things the wrong way. I think it's in order to bring attention to himself, because he doesn't need to do this. He simply does not need to bring this sort of attention to himself. I think he's a big enough star, and I think he's of such relevancy that he doesn't have to go around hurting people and insulting others, and insulting religions and races and women and et al. In order to get his point across. I think he's powerful enough an individual to do that all on his own, and let the talent speak for itself. So to Kanye, I wish that he sees the light. I wish that he has a come to Jesus this moment, goes back to Jesus, because it was once said that he asked for Jesus' help and he wasn't there. But again, I think that I think, as his old song says, Jesus still walks with him. I think that I think God is still with him, to quote another song of his, especially off his gospel album. And it is hoped that Kanye can indeed come to his senses and live out the truth of his mother, because his mother said it best, that he would be one to change the world, and he's doing it one album at a time. But again, I hope he doesn't do it negatively, one word at a time. And I pray that Kanye comes back to comes and ends these sort of tirades, because he's a bigger man than that. And I think he and his children would welcome that. I think his family would welcome that. I think the world would welcome that. And I pray for him in his darkest hour. Thank you very much for joining me here on Talk Talk Live. We're going to leave it there. A very lively show. Thank you for all those people who have who had something to say tonight. It was really a lively show, but it's one that had to be done because he is one of my heroes, to be fair. And again, I really do hope that he is that he leads himself out of this way, this modus operandi, this way of doing things, and he can move forward with his life and with his children's life, and he can live a life that the world wants him to live and wants to see him do well. But this is not the way, Kanye. definitely not the way. And I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Tomorrow night we'll be back another Talk Live again. I think we're gonna finally get that Shannon Sharp and Ochocinco views of the Red Pill in tomorrow night, because we couldn't do it due to technical issues. But we will be getting it in tomorrow. We will. So look out for listings on that, and do look out for a Talk moment on this and indeed this subject matter. I thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live. Look forward to seeing you soon, and good night from Toronto on IG. And thank you very much for joining me here on YouTube. Thank you very much for the very lively conversation we've had here on YouTube regarding this subject. I think this was something that I had to do, something that needed to be done with regards to this subject, because it is such a hot topic. Kanye controls the zeitgeist, especially of a musical genre of which is very, very near and dear to my heart. But he doesn't have to go down this road. He doesn't have to do this way, and I pray that he moves forward with his life and sees the error of his ways, and he realizes that his talent is enough. His talent.